How do you become a web developer fast? You learn the 5 technologies I'm about to share with you in this video. I'm not going to talk about simple things like HTML and CSS that everybody knows. These are things that not every developer knows, but that might be really important. In fact, I almost lost my job because I did not know 2 of them. Let's get into it. Number 5, PHP. PHP is really useful. It's probably the most useful backend programming language, and the reason for that is that it's the #1 most used on the internet. Not necessarily the most useful to create new apps, new websites, but the thing is, most of the clients of the company that you're working for are going to be people who already have websites and need website updates. And when 70% of websites are running on PHP, theoretically 70% of the people who are going to be coming to you have websites that are running on PHP. And so it's probably the best backend programming language to learn. Number 4, Bootstrap. What the fuck is Bootstrap? Probably never heard about Bootstrap. Bootstrap is not a programming language. It's not a framework. Bootstrap is actually a CSS library. What the fuck does that mean? What's a CSS library? It's basically a set of pre-made code in CSS that allows you to use it in your own websites so that you can finish coding them faster, because you use these already pre-made code in your website. You barely modify them. It allows you to create nav bars and also create responsive designs, which means allow your website to adapt itself to both mobile and PC a lot faster than if you had to code everything yourself. And it's very easy to use. And honestly, using Bootstrap probably saves me between 5 and 10 hours on every website that I made, which is huge. Number 3, JavaScript, the #1 most in-demand programming language right now. Reason you want to learn JavaScript? Very simple, 2 things. 1, DOM manipulation, which allows you to create websites that look more dynamic. And number 2, it's the #1 most in-demand programming language right now. It's the #1 programming language that has the most jobs available. If you want to get a job easily, learning JavaScript is probably your best bet. All right, now let's get into the 2 ones that I almost lost my job because I didn't know them. Number 2, WordPress. I fucking hate WordPress. You probably hate WordPress too. Listen, we probably all fucking hate WordPress. If you don't know what WordPress is a CMS. It's actually a tool that people use to create websites without needing to code. WordPress is annoying to use, I get that, but the thing is, it's so popular with clients. It's really not popular with developers, but it's really popular with clients. And you know who are paying developers? Clients. And if they want WordPress and you're not offering it, well, they're just gonna hire someone else. Easily at least 33% of all the websites I worked on were built on WordPress. You have no idea how commonly it is used, and especially if you want to freelance, it's going to be so much easier for you to find jobs if you do offer WordPress services than if you don't, because again, possibly 33% of all the websites I've ever worked on were made on WordPress. Number 1, I almost lost my job on the first day because I didn't learn FTP. What? The fuck is FTP? It's not a programming language. It's not a framework. I had no idea what it was. But when I got my first job, I actually managed to get a job at a place where a lot of college graduates were applying. So you're probably asking yourself, how did you manage to get a job where, without a degree, with just Udemy courses, with just 3 months of learning online, when there's a lot of college graduates that are applying there? Well, it's very simple. The key to getting hired is to look good, to look better than all these other people. So the guy who hired me was convinced that I was an amazing developer. You do that with your resume, with body language, with communication, and a bunch of other things. And I actually made a video on how to build your resume, and I share with you the exact resume that I used to make my first job. If you want to see that, you can check the description down below. I put a link there that you can check out about it. So when I got there on my first day, he came and told me, okay, he gave me a sheet of paper and he told me, okay, these are the FTP username and password, and here's a list of modifications I want you to do on this client's website. And I was just shitting my pants because I didn't know what FTP was. You know what I did? I immediately opened YouTube. As soon as he was out of the room, I opened YouTube and I typed, what is FTP? And, you know, it must have taken me like an hour to figure out how to recover all of these files. And at the end, I couldn't believe I didn't lose my job. At that point, I just felt so relieved. Okay, I probably lost like 3,000 fucking calories just because of all the adrenaline that was building up in my system, all the stress. And in my experience, using FTP is way more common than cPanel in this industry. And so you should learn FTP to be able to recover those files from the server and to send files from your computer to servers. Very simple tools, and I really didn't expect it would be that important, but it was. And it's something you can learn in 1 hour. That's something I actually had to do with adrenaline. Maybe it's going to take you a little more than an hour because you're not going to be under the same level of stress and pressure that I was, but it's very easy to learn, but very worth it. And if you're not sure where to learn these technologies, I actually made a video where I share with you the best place that I found to learn these things for as cheap as possible and as fast as possible so you can get your first job as fast as possible. If you want to see that video, you should click up here, put a link to it, and you can check it out. With that said, thanks for watching. I hope you found this video helpful, and I'll see you soon. Take care.